his leadership to support the highest possible functioning of the state and the work of executive to realize the objective of our nation's constitution. Mr. Speaker, indeed, we as politicians represent different parties and different priorities. Regardless of our different ideologies, we must strive to serve the national interest and the interest of all Fijians, including women, men, children, and the future generation. Mr. Speaker, one cannot go without acknowledging the support rendered to Fiji during COVID-19 response. The international cooperation has boosted the government's effort in ensuring the equitable provision of vaccines to all Fijians, which leads to the accomplishment of more than 90% eligible Fijians now fully vaccinated and protected from COVID-19. The fruit of this collaboration will materialize today, as we are going to open the border and welcome our tourists and close family relatives to our shores after months of closure. This is a big achievement for us. Not only will this benefit our economy, but also boost employment in our tourism sector. While the COVID-19 pandemic brings us the new battlefront, there is a battle that small island developing nations like our beloved Fiji continue to be confronted with, the battlefront of climate change. Mr. Speaker, I echo the sentiment of His Excellency the President in acknowledging the national delegation led by our Honourable Prime Minister at the COP 2016 meeting in Glasgow, at the front line of our climate emergency, achieving resilience in deeply personal for every Fijian. Mr. Speaker, furthermore, I concur with His Excellency's comment that one of the proudest achievements by Fiji in COP is the establishment of the Ocean Pathway. We should be proud to be a leader in voicing the Pacific concern to bigger developed nations in our fight for survival. Being an island nation with 75% of our country living within 5 kilometers of the coastline and the marine ecosystem valued at $2.4 billion, and home of 5% of the world coral reef, it is crucial that we take action to ensure that our national resources are managed in a sustainable way. Marine resources are certainly under threat through factors such as climate change and overexploitation. Mr. Speaker, the government is taking a bold step for our Sheikh and our future generation to ensure in the insurance of Blue Bond to provide investors with attractive investment opportunities which support ocean-friendly sustainable development. We are able to get support from the United Kingdom, United Nations Development Programme, and United Nations Capital Development Fund to help us with arrangement for the new marine protected areas, green shipping, fisheries initiative, and nature-based solutions to protect vulnerable communities from sea level rise. Mr. Speaker, I concur with His Excellency's comment in regards to the government effort, and I quote, build the resilience of infrastructure of entire community and move others to higher ground and adopt clean energy like solar. And we have seen how our disaster readiness has improved to offer advance warning of storm that saves life. Mr. Speaker, from 2016 to date, a total of 13 disasters have struck Fiji, with approximately damage costing $3.13 billion, with 79 deaths recorded. This includes stronger cyclones, severe and devastating floods, long and distressing drought, and looming threat of sea level rise. And as we know, this impact will continue to rise in coming years. For this reason, I am grateful that our visionary Prime Minister who leads the climate change fight against the biggest culprits. The renowned Category 5 super cyclone Winston made a landfall in Fiji as the Southern Hemisphere's strongest ever storm. In 36 hours, the value of 1/3 of our GDP was wiped away, 44 lives were lost, 40,000 homes were damaged or destroyed, and 350 schools were threatened. This is a reality, and science has indicated that the frequency of these events will continue to rise in the near future, leaving us footprint of lessons learned as we build a future of uncertainty for our children. We need a people's-centered approach, emphasizes to risk-informed approach to strengthen Fiji's resilience. And as His Excellency the President said, and I quote, "We must not be complacent in the fight against climate change. Our hard-won development gains continue to be undermined with the ever-increasing complexities of crisis brought by climate change," unquote. Mr. Speaker said, the resilience of our nation continues to be tested now ever more so with the impact of climate change. Beginning in December last year, the nation braced itself against tropical cyclone Yasa. Just as we were on the cusp of recovery, tropical cyclone Ana made a landfall. In partnership with the World Bank, the climate vulnerability assessment was conducted that put the cost of climate-proofing Fiji development at $9.3 billion over 10 years. In the past, Fiji was fortunate to have some breathing space between the impact of natural hazards. I still remember when we would have at most one major meteorological event in the cyclone season. This allowed us ample time to focus the right amount of effort into mitigation and preparedness activities. Mr. Speaker said, the global COVID-19 pandemic, combined with the real threat of climate change, has had to make us rethink our strategy towards development. Fiji cannot make progress as a country if everything we build is wiped away every time a disaster strikes. Mr. Speaker said, I am delighted to advise this August Parliament that we are building back better not only in terms of infrastructure, but also our governance structure. National Disaster Management Office, NDMO, through lessons learned from past disasters, is continuing to improve disaster management operations by developing policies, manuals, and standing operating procedures that will contribute to effective disaster management system and processes. Mr. Speaker said, this document has been developed as outcome of lessons learned from past disasters. Despite the fact that our nation is often in the front line of natural disaster, we have recognized that they provide an attribution of opportunities to build back better. Mr. Speaker said, with the development of this guiding document, the NDMO has gone one step further to revise its disaster management training package that are rightly aligned. This revised package is now cost-effective, consisting of 3 days training, with focused topic target to civil servants who are directly engaged in disaster operations. In addition, Mr. Speaker said, we must also highlight the NDMOs has partnered with the Partner of Community Development Fiji, the Advantage Development and Relief Agency, ADRA, in conducting community disaster risk management training. This training has been conducted in the number of communities in the country as part of the preparedness and disaster risk reduction mainstreaming. Mr. Speaker said, to ensure that government effort to improve and strengthen disaster risk management governance, we also want to ensure that the beneficiary, that is, the individual can appreciate them. And this is done through the legal mandated annual National Disaster Awareness Week celebration. Mr. Speaker said, the main objective of the week-long celebration is to create behavioral change amongst individuals towards disaster risk reduction. And to drive this, the media has been leveraged through the 7-month-long National Disaster Campaign. We'll ensure that disaster preparedness message will reach the remotest areas and individuals. This year, despite COVID-19 restriction, we again leverage technology to broadcast the launching of National Disaster Awareness Week and 3 webinars. While the Disaster Awareness Week addressed communication through the community engagement, communication infrastructure is also being installed in our remote locations. Recently, the funding support from the Japanese government, the NDMO installed HF radios across 9 emergency operation centers in the Northern Division. In addition, I would like to acknowledge Live and Learn for the donation of computers to be used with the already donated HF radios. This backup telecommunication will ensure that there is continued communication in the North, even in the event of main telecommunication structure has been brought down by hazard. Mr. Speaker said, following the conduct of National Operation Readiness Check, our government partners, NGOs and CSOs stand at 70% state of readiness to respond to an event. Preparation activities continued with these agencies to ensure a full 100% achievement. Mr. Speaker said, as part of NDMO's preparation, we have pre-positioned key strategic assets and non-food items, NFIs, in the Western Division, Rotuma, and plan is also in place to move the same across the Northern Division this week. This will ensure quick deployment of assistance to affected communities in the aftermath of disaster. Furthermore, the Preparedness Committee, Mitigation and Prevention Committee, and the National Disaster Management Council has convened a discussion of state of readiness as we once again prepare the nation for another cyclone season. Mr. Speaker said, we have a total of 39 emergency operation centers spread across Fiji, 4 divisional emergency operation centers, and 1 national emergency operational center. Operational readiness checks all over divisions and districts EOCs have been conducted that identifies a 60% state of readiness. We have pre-positioned strategic assets and non-food items to reach 100% of readiness across all 4 divisions. Mr. Speaker said the overlap between multiple hazards is likely to intensify as a result of climate change. Overlapping hazards, along with interconnectedness of economies at different scale, are creating systematic risk that demands more sustained and vigorous approach. These are emerging issues that require the shift in disaster risk reduction and designing the strategy that will drive the localized solution on climate change adaptation. Mr. Speaker said climate change is again rearing its head and reminding us on its impact on our developing range. This year, the Fiji Meteorological Services in Nadi has forecast 3 severe tropical cyclones to make landfall. I cannot stress enough the word of His Excellency the President that we must not be complacent in our fight against climate change. Finally, Mr. Speaker said the impact of climate change has not been reduced. The impact of climate change may not be reduced anytime in the near future, and a natural hazard and pandemic may continue to reach our shores. Through the tremendous effort of the government, individual communities and at large, with the support from our development partners, our national resilience will continue to grow and strengthen to cushion the impact of natural disasters. Only together we can do this. With those few words, I wish members of this August Parliament a safe and very Merry Christmas and a new year full with amazing opportunities and prosperity. Thank you, Speaker Sir.
I thank the Assistant Minister for his contribution to the debate, and I now give the floor to the next speaker, the Honourable Arseri Rondrodo. You have